Reddit. What moment made you say yep, I'm definitely dead, but survived with no major injuries? I was a senior in high school, and the student club I was in organized an unofficial beach trip towards the end of the year, no teachers or official permission, leaving me and a few other seniors in charge of supervising everything. After a couple hours worth of fun, one of the other students came running up to me and said that 3 of the younger members of the club had been swept out by a riptide and couldn't get back towards the shore. Me and 2 other of the older students, all experienced swimmers, immediately went to go help them. My friends got 2 of the 3 kids in trouble and started guiding them parallel to the shore to get them out of the current, but the guy I went for was panicking, barely staying above the water, and started dragging me down with him almost immediately. I yelled for people to get a lifeguard and tried to keep both of us afloat, but after a few minutes, maybe 5, maybe 10, it felt like forever, I was getting exhausted, having trouble keeping both of us above the water, and I couldn't see anyone coming to the rescue. I started getting big mouthfuls of water and my leg muscles were starting to cramp up, and I remember thinking holy shit, I might actually die right here, right now, as the current started pulling us further and further away from where everyone was. Thankfully for everyone involved, one of the students on the beach had flagged down a couple of surfers, who made their way out to where we were as quickly as they could and hauled first the younger student and then me onto the front of their boards and took us back to shore. I'll always be thankful and appreciative for those strangers who put themselves in the dangerous position of rescuing 2 drowning swimmers. I went out for a surf on a stormy day and thought to myself, no one else is out, those idiots. Before being held down by 2 waves after eating it on the first wave of the session. Was thrown down and held under, and while being tossed around, my leg rope wrapped around both my legs and one of my arms, so I was probably being held at around 5 feet under with only one arm free while my board tombstoned. Board tip is barely visible at the surface but floats vertical like a tombstone. Finally managed to catch a breath between sets before taking another 3 or 4 on the head, and for sure just thought, well, this is it. No one's out, fishermen will find my body or my board. Managed to get my other arm free and got to shore very quickly, and then avoided the ocean for a few days even though the waves were absolutely perfect. There's a reason no one was out. Everyone else was 10 minutes down the road at another beach where the waves were smaller and cleaner. I was driving on a main road and I guess someone wanted to left turn onto a side street so much that they just pulled out of their lane and drove down the wrong side. Did the road past several streets, speeding, coming directly for me, and I legit had nowhere to go because so many cars were parked in front of houses, so I couldn't even pull over. I just stopped and held my breath until they turned left. It wouldn't have been the most high impact crash, they were going like 45 in a 25, but fuck, it was scary how deliberate it was. Like they chose to drive the wrong way to find the side street. A few days ago I saw someone just about miss their exit on a motorway where everyone was doing 120 km/h/70 mph, slammed on their brakes, reversed about 50 feet, indicated and took the exit. All of a sudden there are cars everywhere trying to not cause a pileup. I wonder if they're just an idiot or are malicious too. When I was 18 I was driving through an intersection with the right-of-way, going 70 km/h, or 43.5 miles per hour, a man in a blue Mazda 3 hatchback decided to run the red light turning left. He was so close to me that I could see the whites of his eyes, and in a split second I thought, I'm about to T-bone this guy, driver's side door, and he is going to die. Instinctively I yanked on the wheel and swerved to the right and instantly went over the curb and off the road, onto someone's lawn. I slammed the brakes, but because I was on grass the tires locked and the car kept momentum. I went through their wooden fence and garden, and straight into the brick wall on the side of their house. As soon as I went off the road, I 100% thought I was going to die. My life didn't flash before my eyes, but people close to me did. It could have only been a second or two, but time seemed to slow down and my brain was racing. I thought about how my girlfriend would react, what my parents would say, what my friends would think, etc. When the car hit the wall, it punched a few bricks out of place and the entire front end of the vehicle caved in. The windows shattered, the tires exploded, the doors bent into an L shape and the car started to fill with smoke. However, the radio was still playing Vicarious by Tool. I was concussed by the airbag, broke my nose, jaw, 2 fingers, had whiplash and my left knee was dislocated. I was in shock and couldn't believe that what just happened was real, and so I just sat there kind of freaking out. A group of parents from a birthday party across the street saw what happened and ran to the car and pulled me from it as they thought it was about to catch fire. The man in the Mazda 3 drove away. If it wasn't for the testimony of those parents who told the police they witnessed the man run the intersection and that I didn't do anything wrong, I would have been completely liable for all of the property damage, and additionally insurance would not have replaced the vehicle as it would have been deemed at fault. I am glad nobody else got hurt. I ate one of those Bratch's oval-shaped hard candies, think they were called sparklets, at home alone when I was 6. Got stuck in my throat. I stood there in shock for a few seconds as I started to realize I couldn't breathe. I ran crazily around the room and ended up colliding hard into the back of the couch, which caused the candy to go flying out. Best accidental Heimlich ever. My brother had a full blockage from a sour warhead at about 9 years of age. I was the only other one home, on the computer. He bursts in with a purple face, gestures wildly at his throat and then continues his panic circuit around the house. Chased him down, threw him chest first against the kitchen sink and struck him as hard as I could across the back. Candy went flying out, and I released the breath I didn't realize I was holding. What I did in panic was actually close to textbook first aid for a choking victim. If you're doing CPR right, there's a good chance you'll crack a rib, but broken can be fixed. Dead is mostly permanent. Edit: if you ever get the chance, please take a first aid course. I'm getting flooded with lots of great details and better info. Even if you don't keep your certification active, what sticks with you can save a life. Edit 2, not a witch doctor. Edit 3, clarifying that CPR and Heimlich are not the same, and you shouldn't perform CPR on someone actively choking. And now my inbox is mostly dead. Boyfriend finally woke me up shortly after we had fallen asleep in a small upstairs bedroom that had a smoldering fire. After we collapsed on the floor and couldn't find the door that was not even 5 feet away, we kept hitting walls and corners and started to not comprehend anything. After feeling like I was baking in an oven, I laid my head down on the floor thinking I'd never see my son again and how sad it was to die. It felt like eternity and felt very lonely. My boyfriend somehow found his phone on the floor, called 911. Fire department showed up in what felt like 2 seconds but couldn't break down the front door. They shined the flashlight up to window so he could kick out the AC unit, which he did. They finally came upstairs and we crawled to them and they took us straight to the burn unit since they didn't know what shape we were in. I'm pretty sure the entire hospital toured through our room since they've never seen anyone make it out and look the way we did. Edit: holy smokes, I appreciate the love from everyone. I could read and reply all night. I'd totally do an AMA LOL. I can't wait for my partner to get home so I can show him this. Thanks guys. I'm not sure anyone will see this, but if you ever find yourself in a smoke-filled room and can't find a way out, put your hand on a wall and follow it. Eventually you'll get to the door. You can brute force any kind of maze with this. It's what firefighters are trained to do if they get lost. I was behind a car on the interstate that had the hood pop open like that. Fortunately the young guy driving didn't panic, just slowed down slowly. I stuck behind him and another guy pulled up alongside him and sorta blocked traffic so he could pull over to the shoulder. Get him to the shoulder and the other guy and I donated a couple ratchet straps to hold his hood down, got him all set up and he went on up the road with the other guy following him since he was going the same way. That young dude was scared shitless, but his calm reaction probably prevented a major accident due to the amount of high-speed traffic around him. Edit, dang guys, didn't expect that response. I appreciate the upvotes and awards. Nothing I wouldn't do again, and certainly not the first time I've gone out of my way to help out a fellow road traveler. If everyone had that attitude, the roads would be a better place. 2 years ago I was sleeping in my then girlfriend's bed with her and her 2 kids. Around 3 or 4 in the morning I hear someone walking around in the room and open my eyes to see her ex-boyfriend, who she had left months ago but wouldn't leave her alone and let her leave him, walking to turn the light on. As he turns the light on I see him grab a gun from behind his back. At this point I'm thinking that he is going to just turn and shot me, and I am worried about the kids getting hit. I go to roll onto my back to get up, and as I roll I get hit in the throat by his fist. I can't swallow for a few seconds and I think to myself I need to calm down and try to breathe before I panic. Once I realize my windpipe isn't crushed I sit up in the bed and tell the kids to go hide in the closest. At this point he is screaming at me and I am barely awake. I get hit in the side of the head with the gun, try my best to move with it and sit back up. Screaming continues, girlfriend is now screaming at him to leave and he hits me in the other side of the head. Once I sit back up again he points the gun in my face while screaming. He finally decides that it's not worth it or something and leaves through the door he broke in from, shoots off his clip into a field across the street, and him and his friend drive off. Cops get called and they get him. Not even an hour later, he is now in prison for 12 more years and I walked away with just a bad headache the next morning. I thought I was dead the moment I saw the gun, and lucky no one was seriously hurt. The worst part of it all is the kids having to go through it, and how many people tell me they would have beat his ass. Dude had at least 150 pounds on me and a gun. Our girlfriend's ex broke in with gun, hit me in the throat and pistol whipped me 2 times.